Lefty is starting to find his way. He is coming off a season-high 8-strikeout win versus the Twins last week at the Coliseum. The trade deadline acquisition last year looks to be a permanent fixture in the A's rotation. Manaea leads the charge as the A's open up a 2-game interleague set at lovely Miller Park in Milwaukee. Game 1, A's-Brewers next. Well, Brewer fans can do it with the best of them. Tailgating outside Miller Park. They will get set to head inside, and interleague baseball is coming up. And for the A's, an off day yesterday, so they will get back to work tonight, sending Sean Manaea, the big left-hander, to the mound. So it's the first of a quick 2-game series here in Milwaukee. It's the A's and the Brewers coming up on CSN California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with my broadcast partner, Ray Fossey, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Manaea making his 8th start, and Ray, it's pretty clear he's now starting to settle in, starting to get a little bit more comfortable, and the results are starting to show up.
A great learning experience for a young man who was called into action really in spring training. A lot of expectations for Sean Manaea. 2-2 in his last 4 starts. Probably his best was his last one against the Minnesota Twins at the Coliseum. You see all these breaking pitches, good elevated fastball away, but watch the changeup. He had a great changeup working in the ball game. He got the 8 strikeouts, especially with the changeup, mixed in some breaking balls, but the fact that he could elevate his fastball was outstanding as well. He's looking forward to swinging the bat tonight. That's all that matters for him, for Sean Manaea tonight, swinging the bat.
All right, so the Milwaukee Brewers got off to a slow start. They're playing better, and for Ryan Braun, when he is healthy, he really is one of the best hitters in the National League, and he's showing it this year.
Well, he continues to show it for the Brewers. They've moved him over to left field, but he's such a great hitter. They want him in the lineup. He's been injured a few times, but the things that he can do with the bat, he can hit for an average, which the numbers show, but the best thing he can do is hit for power and drive in big runs. That's what Craig Counsell likes about him, having him in the lineup to be able to do everything that you want with a hitter, and he can do it all. Plus, he's not a bad outfielder as well.
All right, so it'll be Sean Manaea against a lineup full of powerful right-handed hitters, and for the Brewers, they will send young right-hander Zach Davies to the mound. So that is your pitching matchup, Manaea and Davies, for game 1 of this series. Up next, we'll check in with the A's pregame live studios. While that's going on, Ray and I are each going to have 4 brats. We'll be back. Brewers take the field, and we are just moments away from getting tonight's ball game underway. It's the A's and the Brewers. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. 60 degrees outside, but about a half hour ago, the roof went closed. It was open all day and all through batting practice, but it's a little bit of a cooler evening, and there were some dark clouds overhead. There's a possibility of a little bit of rain, so the Brewers said, let's close this thing up. And that's what they did again about a half hour ago. The lineup tonight for the Oakland A's looks like this. Coco Crisp in left field, Billy Burns in center, Jed Lowry's at second. Stephen Vogt will hit in the cleanup spot, and he will catch. Then Billy Butler, Yonder Alonso at third base tonight. Simeon at short, Coghlan in right, and we are in a National League park, folks, so Sean Manaea is going to get to swing the lumber.
And he is 23 years young, and as they say, he looks a lot younger than 23, but his name is Zach Davies, who is starting for the Milwaukee Brewers. He was acquired from the Baltimore Orioles, and of course in the rotation, but just 23 years young, not overpowering with any of his pitches. Fastball low 90s. He will throw a cut fastball along with a curve slider and changeup. But the A's seeing the young man, and as Darren Bush, the A's hitting coach, said, you're not going to know much about him until you actually stand at the plate. And that will mean Coco Crisp will be the first to do it.
Let's look at the Brewers defensively. Some recognizable names, including Ryan Braun. He's in left field. Ramon Flores in center. Domingo Santana's in right. Hernan Perez is the third baseman. Jonathan Villar, we saw him with the Astros the last couple of years. Then Aaron Hill is at second. Former A Chris Carter is at first, and a very good catcher in Jonathan Lucroy. So that's the defense for the Milwaukee Brewers. And Craig Counsell, his second season, but his first full season. He took over last year, the middle of May. And he's a Wisconsin native. And the first pitch of the ball game is in for a strike to Coco Crisp. So we're underway from Miller Park. The crowd still filing in, but it's not going to be a real big crowd tonight. Swing and a miss, and a quick 0-2 to Coco Crisp. Crisp at 231 with 5 home runs and 22 RBIs. Had a quiet series in Houston. He was 0 for 8. Tried to check his swing, and he did. So the first interleague game of the season for the Athletics. Not the case for the Brewers, though. The Brewers have already played 10 interleague games. The A's will start to catch up in that category with 2 here in Milwaukee and then 3 in Cincinnati over the weekend. So 5 straight in National League parks. Bob Melvin managed in the National League, so he understands how things work. That one hit deep down the right field line into the corner, but foul. Not by much.
For the weekend in Houston, even though it's an American League game, Bob Melvin used the double switch.
He did.
So he was getting ready for the road games in the National League, but very familiar, having managed in the National League, so he's very familiar with the National League parks.
And Coco goes down swinging, and that's the first out of the game.
He's got a good changeup, and Coco Crisp might have seen it as the ball just kept tailing away from him. Not a lot of velocity, but the movement was outstanding. You see the rotation of the ball took a lot off the pitch, but the location where it ended off the plate out of the strike zone.
Some more goodies on Zach Davies, born in Chandler, Arizona. As Ray mentioned, came over for Para. Not a big guy, 6 foot, 155 pounds. He grabs that one. Throws to first, and Billy Burns is retired. But Zach Davies coming off a terrific performance in his last start against a very good Cardinals team. 8 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts. So he's feeling confident right now. He struggled a little bit early on, but has pitched pretty well after losing his first 3 starts in the big leagues. He also made a couple starts in the minor leagues before coming up to the big league.
You know, watching Coco Crisp hit a ball down the right field line, the ball must carry well because 345 down each line, 345 down the corners of each the right field and left field lines. That's probably about 15 feet normal, above the normal, about 330. So you really have to hit one unless the ball really carries as well as they anticipate with the roof closed.
Yeah, you know, Ray, you look at the distances, and you know it's not the fences aren't short. There's the breakdown of Zach Davies, where that first 3-start episode was not good, but very good since then. So maybe a little bit like Sean Manaea.
Yeah,
youngster,
exactly.
same age, starting to figure it out a little bit. So the count 2-2 to Jed Lowry. But back to the ballpark, Ray, for whatever reason it may be, the ball just jumps here. And they say it jumps even more when the roof is closed. Even when it's open, it's a bit of a launching pad. I've had people from the National League say it carries here as well as it carries at Coors Field. What does that tell you?
That says a lot, because
yeah,
it's not quite as high here as it is in Denver.
Chris Davis knows. He had a bunch of home runs here. So for whatever the reason may be, it is just a great hitter's park.
He likes it. Chris Carter can hit him out anywhere. We were talking in Houston. The A's only get to see Chris Carter 4 times since he's with the Brewers instead of 19 when he's with the Astros.
There's a drive toward left center. Flores got a good jump. Makes the catch. Side retired. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Zach Davies. And the Brewers come to bat in the bottom of the first. And let's check out the lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers. Jonathan Villar, who's having a very fine season. He's going to lead things off. Domingo Santana, young outfielder just off the disabled list, hits second. Then Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy, Chris Carter in the middle. Aaron Hill will play second. Hernan Perez is the third baseman, and Ramon Flores is your center fielder with Davies.
And for a young man getting to the big leagues for the first time, Sean Manaea could care less about interleague plays, making his 8th major league start. Of course, all in the American League, his first start in the National League Park. But he's pitched very well in his last 4. He is 2-2. He picked up his first win against the Rangers on the 16th of May, and since then he has done extremely well, striking out 8 in his last start against Minnesota.
So he's ready, and Jonathan Villar steps in, switch hitting shortstop, and the first pitch is in for a strike. Fine season for Villar. Boy, look at those numbers.
On the stolen bases as well.
Yeah.
He struggled in spring training. They didn't know if he's even going to make the ball club.
And he lines one into the glove of Lowry, reaches up, grabs it on the backhand, 1 out. So Lowry, positioned properly, makes the catch. Defensively for the A's, Crisp, Burns, Coughlin in the outfield. Alonso's playing third tonight. Simeon at short, Lowry at second, and Billy Butler gets the start at first with Vogt doing the catching.
Maybe they should put a hole in the roof slightly cracked the roof, so all this smoke goes out. We're shooting off the fireworks in here, and there's kind of a haze that stays inside Miller Park. I thought it was maybe the sun shining on their screen, but I think that's just the fireworks that they shot off prior to the Brewers taking their place in the batting box.
This is Domingo Santana.
Good
young
change
outfielder.
Up.
Yeah, that was a good
Great change up, did right from the beginning to show the Brewers hitters. Just put them on notice.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You can't see anything.
No, it's amazing.
Three and two now to Domingo Santana.
Well, just over the weekend in Houston, they had fireworks, but they closed the roof at the end of the game before they shut off the fireworks.
Your umpires, Dana DeMuth is the crew chief, and he's calling balls and strikes. Swing and a miss on a 3-2 changeup, and it was a good one. 2 outs here in the first.
Well, he's got a couple of pitches that he can really learn from. Ryan Madson throwing the changeup, and he just threw it on 3-2. Looked like the fastball coming out of his hand. But from the hitter standpoint, he's swinging. Here comes a fastball and fooled badly on a changeup that really was out of the strike zone. But that's the case where a pitcher does not even hesitate, gets a sign from his catcher, and lets it go.
So a lot like Zach Davies, Brewers starter. Struggled early. Last 4 starts much better for Sean Manaea. 3.55 ERA. And I think that one of the numbers that jumped out at me, Ray, in those last 4 starts, 25 1/3 innings pitched. He's pitched at least 6 innings in all 4 of those starts.
Yeah, exactly.
He may not think, well, that doesn't sound like a big deal, 6 innings, but listen, young pitcher, and we've seen the A's young starters this year struggle to pitch deep into games.
Absolutely.
So 6 innings, 6 1/3, 6 2/3. I think at this point, I think we'll take that from these young guys.
Well, the 6 innings, and of course they talk about a quality start. 6 innings, 3 runs, earned runs, which, you know, it's a big ERA. But bottom line, he's pitching at least through the 6 innings. There's a good changeup, Braun looking fastball. And regardless of interleague play, I still think a lot of National League hitters look fastball in most cases, and especially the counts of a fastball count. And it's important for Sean Manaea to get the sign from his veteran catcher and believe that if Stephen Vogt says you can throw a 3-2 changeup, well, if you believe in me, I'll do the same and just go right along with it. And Stephen will shake his head, get him to shake, and here comes another changeup on 2-2.
And it was a good one, kept it down, and a couple of strikeouts for Sean Manaea. So very good bottom of the first inning for Manaea. No score after 1 from Milwaukee.
interleague road game, which means pitchers have to hit. We'll see what Sean Manaea, and really kind of changes for the pitcher as well, because the pitcher has to hit for the National League, and then they start to win again on the road. Something the A's were 7-0 to start their season on the road, but they have not played as well lately, and including being swept by the Astros over the weekend in Houston. So the skipper Bob Melvin, back in an area where he worked in Milwaukee, would like to start the winning streak again on the road.
Stephen Vogt to lead it off. Vogt, Butler, and Alonso here in the second inning. A's went 3 up, 3 down in the first. And that one rolled towards second. Hill has to wait for it as he's out on the grass. So 1 out here in the second inning. A's come in 25-32 is the record. 12-16 on the road. Last year interleague play, the A's not too bad. They were 11-9 against the National League West.
When the interleague play first started, the A's were just off the charts. They had some pretty good teams and just seemed to win every time they played in interleague play. I think one year they swept the interleague. I know Cincinnati Central was involved in that, but they had some pretty good teams, winning 100 games almost every season.
Interleague's been around since 1997. And the A's have the 5th best record all time interleague. And you're right, about the first 10 years of that, they just marched right through interleague. Slowed down the pace a little bit, maybe the last 5 or 6 years.
And really a lot depends on the club that you have when you start playing. And of course, it's always going to be the same. You're going to play the same number at home versus on the road. So you're going to have half the games in which pitchers have to hit. And it changes the lineup. And I think just as much for Sean Manaea, who will be swinging the bat, that he's going to face a lineup that doesn't necessarily have to pitch to the 8th place hitter. Whereas in the American League with the DH and 9 hitters per se, you have to think about all of them. So Manaea right now thinking about, I got my bat next to me. I'm getting ready to hit, which it should be interesting.
Butler fouls it down the right field line.
To give him a green light on 3-0. Fouled the ball down the left field line. Also nice to have some interchangeable parts with Alonso able to play third with Valencia sick. And Billy Butler in at first base. Interleague game. Of course, no DH used on National League Park. You have to make a decision who you're going to be sitting.
3-2 pitch, grounded to third. Perez has it, and that's the second out. So that gets us to our true story, brought to you by McDonald's. A's last visit in Milwaukee in 2013. The A's took 2 out of 3, and there was a whole bunch of home runs hit. Moss, Cespedes, they each hit a pair of home runs in the series. They had a combined 8 RBIs, and yeah, this ballpark was not going to hold those 2 guys. That was not going to happen. Boom.
Hanging breaking ball.
That group did that a lot.
Yeah.
So that was June of 2013.
And got both of those players now in the National League. Cespedes with the Mets, Moss with the Cardinals. So they get to come in here anyway to play the Brewers, at least in the regular season. Cardinals more because they're in the same division. The Mets, I guess, just one time, as they would come in as an Eastern League team, Eastern Division team.
Two-0 pitch to Alonso in the dirt. Well, it's interesting. This is only the 3rd time that the A's and the Brewers have played in interleague play. 2013 and then 2002. You can remember the Brewers were in the American League through 1997. In 1998, they moved to the National League. So they played a lot, but they were in the same league for many years.
And at that time, there were 6 teams in the National League Central.
That's right.
Which means that you miss some teams, and the A's happen to miss coming to Milwaukee.
So Alonso with the 2-out walk. That's the first base runner. So here's Marcus Semien. So any interleague history between these 2 teams, well, it's pretty thin. So here's Marcus Semien, 235 with 11 home runs. So last year the A's played the National League West. This year it's the National League Central, and I think you guys know the pattern. Next year, the National League East. Mets, Phillies, Braves,
Coast to coast trip.
Nationals, East Coast, West Coast, Marlins. A's will always play a series against the Giants. That will be every year. One and one the count to Semien. We've only been here one other time, Ray, but when you're sitting here in this ballpark, and at times if you're watching a game from this ballpark, you notice that there's a kind of a glowy color when you're sitting in here. It must be the sun coming through the panels. It's a little hard to explain, but I know you can see it when you're sitting up here. It doesn't affect the players at all, but the sun does come through the panels, and the sun is out right now. No scores. We go to the bottom of the second. California is brought to you by AAA. What is your insurance doing? It's not doing insurance. It should do more. Go to AAA.com for more details. There's a Miller Park, and then there's a Miller Park Grill. That's the real deal here. They do not mess around when it comes to tailgating. And if you say grilling out or barbecuing, they will look at you like you are speaking a foreign language. It is tailgating.
Matter of fact, I think most of them are still in the parking lot right now.
It's possible.
And why not? They look up and they see the roof closing and they say, we can enjoy the sunshine in Milwaukee.
And it's one of the reasons why when the Brewers were getting a new park, there was some talk about maybe putting it downtown, and that idea was squashed immediately because it's a favorite thing for the fans to do, and they wanted a large area, large parking lot area, and Miller Park does have a huge parking lot area. Good idea to listen to the fans.
And no matter on opening day, of course, now with the roof, but I remember County Stadium, it was literally snowing. It was a foot of snow on the ground, and said there's no way. A's were in town for the home opener for the Brewers. They played. The A's lost about 12-11 after a Steinbach grand slam off Cal Eldred.
Well, I know the Giants opened here 3 games, and he said if there was not a roof, they would not have played any of the 3 games.
I believe it.
2-2 the count to Jonathan Lucroy. Carter to follow, and then Hill. Jonathan Lucroy, well, his name is all over the trade rumors. Has been for a while now. He's a good catcher.
Well, catcher hitting for us says a lot about his ability not only to catch but also to swing the bat. I said, didn't recognize you with a beard. He said, I just grew it this year, because his picture up on their diamond vision here has him sans the beard, but he has since grown it. Got a little reddish tint to it.
And there's the walk. So leadoff man out. So the A's tonight, Ray Plano without Valencia, who's sick, and Chris Davis is also out, and this is why. And it was, well, it hit him right in the elbow, and then you could see his fingers kind of locked up. And I know you were talking about what happened. I mean, see his left fingers, and well, the nerve just goes right down into the hand, and that's not something that, okay, loosened up a little bit now. The fingers are okay. It can hang with you for a little while.
But it's like hitting your crazy bone, except that's momentary.
That one is belted. Center field and deep by Carter, and it is gone. So a two-run homer for Chris Carter, just like that. He did not wait around. And Carter gives the Brewers a 2-0 lead here in the second. And Billy Burns turned around, took about 3 steps, and realized that this one is not coming back.
Well, a walk and then a first pitch fastball to Chris Carter. He can hit a fastball, and when he makes contact, he knows, as most people know, that there's a pretty good chance that it's going to travel, and batter's eye, center field, way up high off the batter's eye. And if you can put up with the strikeouts, he'll hit you a bunch of home runs.
Alonso throws in time. Nice play by Yonder Alonso. He's terrific at first, and that was a heck of a play.
Enough to use the bare hand at third base on a check swing by Hill. And then to charge in, get a good angle, pick it up and throw it to Billy Butler. And that is an outstanding play by Alonso, who has shown he can play some defense regardless of where he plays. And that's not an easy play. Maybe he was helped a little bit by Aaron Hill in the check swing, a little slow getting out of the batter's box. But still a great play by Yonder Alonso.
So here's Hernan Perez playing third base tonight. But I want you to finish on Chris Davis a little bit. I mean, this takes a little while.
Yeah, well, the crazy bone, you can hit it and you feel it down on your fingers because the nerve in that area, it's near the bone, I guess, and that's why they call it hitting the crazy bone. But whenever you get hit by a pitch, and it does that, then it's more than just a little hitting your elbow in the wrong place on the desk.
It's not banging your elbow on the desk.
I mean, it's getting hit, and just hope that the nerve that was hit is not seriously damaged, and he's still having difficulty getting the feeling in his fingers.
Lowry in fair territory makes the catch.
So yeah, it's you know, he's trying to play on Sunday, had to come out of the game, and if you just don't have the feel in your fingers, your hand, and you have to hit, you have to do anything, you're going to feel it.
You know Chris Davis won't play in this 2-game series. So.
Well, just thinking about Chris Carter hitting the ball straight away center, and you go back to, I think they said August of last year to the present time, Chris Davis has hit as many home runs, I guess, than one other player in all of baseball in that period of time.
He's hit more than Chris Davis.
That's right. That's right.
I think he has.
Yeah, more than the C. Davis.
He's hit more than C. Davis.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's 2 huge bats, obviously, out of the A's lineup for tonight. So they'll have to make do. Now they're trailing 2-0. This is Ramon Flores.
And here's the situation. Of course, Minaya has the pitcher in the on-deck circle. This is not as critical because now you like to get the third out, have the pitcher leading off the third inning. If there's a chance for a run to be driven in. So he will have Davies leading off next inning.
So damage done. Chris Carter with a long home run. Carter's 15th of the year. So the Brewers lead 2-0 after 2.
MLB.com @Pat app. Stay up to the moment, any moment with game day, live game, video highlights, statcast news, and more. Download MLB.com @Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet.
Good A's fan there. Of course, the question here in Milwaukee is always, did you go brat? Did you go hot dog? Did you go Italian sausage? Did you go Polish?
Or did you just change the logo from Packers to A's?
That's true. That's
By the way, the front page of the local paper, all Packers today, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing.
Spent an hour and a half reading it over and over. It's not true. So shutdown inning chance for Zach Davies. 11 for 16, below the National League average. Coughlin, Manaea, and Crisp here in the third.
And hoping Coughlin gets on so Sean Manaea can bunt. Because that is all he's going to be asked to do if Coughlin finds a way to get on base. 8th place hitter is so important in a National League park. Chris knows because he's played with the Marlins as well as the Cubs in the National League.
It may sound silly, but there is an art to being an 8th place hitter in the National League, because you're probably going to get more breaking balls.
Yeah.
They're shifting all over the infield. Perez moving around. VR looks like he's now at his normal position.
Yeah, get him going, Sean.
So Ray Fosse has his strategy down. So you're sure he's going to be bunting here?
Listen, Bob Melvin said these guys can hit all they want, except when they get a runner on base, they better be able to get the job done by bunting him. And, you know, Rich Hill said it best. Rich is a veteran. He knows. And he said, my job as a pitcher is to advance a runner. Third baseman in on the bag. I mean, way in front on the grass. And so ideally, bunt it to first base. Chris Carter has to hold the runner. Don't bunt it to the pitcher, the third baseman.
Perez creeps in. Now he's crashing hard. And he bunts it in the air, and Carter will grab it. So that's why it's one of the reasons why if you're that corner infielder, you really crash hard.
Yeah.
And you see Carter did, and Perez really did at third.
You know, Sean Manaea also has a little protection on his left elbow, and that's the difference. I mean, you can bunt against Mike Eldreddy when he's throwing about 60, but you get Davies who's throwing 90. Trying to bunt, that's why the ball's in the air. It's almost, he almost bunted it over Carter's head. Bunting is not very easy. I mean, even though you work on it, that's all Sean Manaea and the pitcher has been working on primarily is bunting. Now there, if he advances the runner, a couple of opportunities to get the runner in from second.
Here's Coco, who bounces with foul. Well, you know what? That's an opportunity right there, and I call it the Ray Fosse play. Let it drop, pick it up, throw to second. You got the pitcher at first. Who does not want to be out there running?
You know, even better than that,
you make it a double play.
At least Sean was running a little bit, but to your point, exactly. But Carter probably should have been shocked to see the bunt in the air, but that would have been a great one, because the last thing you'd want is a pitcher on the bases.
Coco grounds it towards second. Hill has it. Out at second, on the first, double play. 4-6-3, so the leadoff walk started well, but quickly the A's are retired. Bottom of the third coming up.
Day at the ballpark. Log on to athletics.com/tickets and use coupon code DAD to receive $10 off field level tickets to see the A's take on their AL West rivals, the Los Angeles Angels. Discounted Father's Day tickets are subject to availability, so make plans now to treat Dad to an afternoon of baseball on Sunday, June the 19th. 1 week from this upcoming Sunday, Father's Day, 2 weeks from 2 days ago, if you want to look at it that way. But regardless, 19th at the Coliseum for Father's Day.
Here in Milwaukee, the Brewers, thanks to a Chris Carter home run, leading 2-0. Pitcher Davies leading it off, 1-1 the count. He's on the year, 1 for 6 now. Close pitch, and he went around. Ed Hickox, the first base umpire.
When in doubt with a pitcher hitting, always appeal, because umpires figure, hey, they're not up there to hit anyway. Might as well take the chance.
And a swing and a miss, and that's strikeout number 3 for Sean Manaea. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. So far, fastball 66%, the changeup 31%. Changeup's been a couple strikeouts in the first inning with that changeup. This is the leadoff man, Jonathan VR. A line drive to Lowry at second. Bottom of the first inning. VR was kind of an extra player with the Astros. We saw him actually quite a bit the last couple of years.
You know what I think?
Quite a bit of shortstop for him.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the A's saw him when he first came up and actually played some very good games against the A's when he first arrived in Houston. But I was thinking with the Brewers, what Carlos Correa has done to a lot of shortstops for the Houston Astros.
That's true.
Because once VR was there, and of course Jed Lowry signed with the Astros, played shortstop. He got hurt, and up comes Correa, and out goes everybody else. It's pretty much. I think Carlos Correa is going to be around for a while. High fastball. You talk about an aggressive hitter. They are trying to think he's back in Houston against the A's, but changing the eyesight and going way up the ladder against the foul tip as VR looked back to see if Boat held on.
Here's Santana, who bounces one fair. Backhanded by Alonso. Straightens up, throws across the diamond, and that's a nice inning for Sean Manaea. Couple of strikeouts, so we are headed to the 4th inning. Brewers 2, A's nothing. Sharks and Penguins play Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Coverage begins at 5 p.m. Then after the game, check out CSN California for Sharks Playoff Central. Don't miss a moment of the Sharks Stanley Cup journey. And the Sharks, well, to say their backs are against the wall, that would sort of be an understatement. They are down in the series 3-1, so they need a 3-game winning streak. Let's see if they can do it. They were pulling for it.
That's right.
And was Billy Burns called out?
He looked like he was. Said he was out of the batter's box.
So if the ball hits Burns when he's out of the batter's box, then he's out. Well, it hit him.
It
definitely hit him. But
yeah.
Did it hit him? Was he out of the box?
I think he's up front of the box anyway, Cut. But I think as he's running out.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a good call. I think he was out of the box, unfortunately. Watch, the left foot comes out.
And he stopped and the ball hit him, but that's why the umpire immediately called him out with the ball in fair territory, actually with him out of the batter's box, and that's the rule, unfortunately.
So it's sort of a combination, Ray, of like you said, he's up in the box, and he's trying to drag bunt it, so he's moving,
and that's his style. He will drag the ball more than push it, trying to drag it past the pitcher. Of course, the second baseman have to make the play. With his speed, usually beats him out, but that time it cost him.
So here's Lowry. Lowry shows bunt and takes it outside. He's still looking for their first hit. And a couple of walks. One of them was erased on a double play last inning. Davies, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Shift is on for Lowry, and the pitch runs inside. Shift. Outfield pretty much straight.
Had an interesting conversation with Craig Counsell, the manager. Now here's the shift guy for the shortstop. They're moving back and forth. But Craig Counsell, and I was talking to him about the shift, and he said they're trying to make some moves about changing up things in certain counts, like with 2 strikes. Do they shift? You know. And so I started mentioning about the shift. He said the Brewers were the first that did it more than anybody, going back when Ned Yost was here managing the Brewers. Rich Dower was one of the coaches, and you know, and I always thought Joe Madden going to the Rays, but he said that they started it more than even the Rays did, and then everybody else has taken off since then. But I like the fact that, as he said, as the count changes, the thought process on the hitter changes as well. And as a defense, you cannot stay the same way. And he said, we're making some changes in our philosophies. He said, you know, we will shift, but, you know, depending the situation, we will make some changes as well.
Well, you know what is interesting, too, about this shift situation is strike 3 called, and the 2-seam fastball came back, and Lowry thought it was ball 4. He's unhappy. So second strikeout for Davies.
But you're right about the 2-seam fastball. It does come back, and he thinks it's ball 4 as he flipped the bat. And then he heard the home plate umpire make the call, and that's probably one of the toughest pitches for especially a left-handed hitter, right-handed pitcher, if he has that kind of movement. And the reason Bartolo Colon is still pitching, because he's a fastball-only pitcher, but has that kind of movement.
So here's Vogt with 2 outs. Now, what I was saying, Ray, is it's interesting. So the shift thing is a big deal now, and it has been for a couple years. So let's say 2-3 years from now, when all of a sudden now there's a lot of information. There's a 5 or 6 year period of information about shifts. Will it start to change again? It's possible.
Look at Josh Reddick. How much shifts have kind of gone to the wayside with his hitting, because they shift to the right. He started hitting ball hard to left center, and they start moving back gradually, and they may go back to straight up.
So we'll see if 3-4 years from now, if the hitters have made enough adjustments to start having fewer shifts.
That's right.
It's possible.
Well, and that's again something that Counts has said about power hitters.
Speaking of power,
right. How about that?
to the wall, not quite enough as Ramon Flores in deep left center field. He's standing right in front of the wall, grabs Stephen Vogt's long drive. Milwaukee Brewers all-time hits leaders. Robin Yount, Paul Molitor on top. They're both Hall of Famers. Cecil Cooper, Jim Gantner, and then Ryan Braun is fifth. One hit away from 1,500. Ray, you played against Don Money and Ben Ogilvy and Charlie Moore.
Actually, I played
Your
with all those guys.
Them,
yeah, Molitor, Cooper, Gantner, Money, Ogilvy. We're all teammates. Harvey's wallbangers.
So they all knew, and I know this, that what a great teammate Rafe was.
Yeah, well, Jim Gantner is still working for the Brewers. Saw him before the game. Gumby is his nickname. He was one of the 3 position players that pitched in the game in Kansas City.
That was skied to center. Burns is back near the wall and enough room. One step in front of the wall, and Ryan Braun is retired. Wow.
Let's see if the roof is open. Maybe there had been some wind that would tear that ball. But I think Braun felt he got enough. Manaea was hoping that he didn't get enough, and ultimately he didn't. But it just shows you the power of Chris Carter, who went way up over the 400 sign. This one, a high arcing fly ball. I said, thank you.
Yeah, in this ballpark, you're going to hold your breath when the ball goes up into the air.
Well, Vogt hit his ball to end the top of the inning. That kept carrying.
One out for Jonathan Lucroy. So you were a free agent and you signed a free agent deal with the Brewers, but unfortunately you got hurt in the first year. Get a chance to play a lot. But you donned the Brewers uniform.
Yeah. County Stadium. It's a great stadium. Lights were great. Brats were great.
Everything was great. Well, I think too. I mean, back then, a lot of teams was the powder blue uniform era. The Brewers sported those.
And they must have worn that on the road, and he just finished the series. I think it was Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and I think it's Philly, because they were wearing. I saw the picture in the paper. I said, ugh. I want to be reminded of that.
You know what, too? That in the 70s was an era when a lot of guys went with the perm, the curly hair. And, you know, some guys tried it, and some guys didn't. And Ray Fosse tried the perm, and I think it worked.
Right.
I would not pitch to that guy. That's a strong man right there. You said the heck with unlucky 13.
That's right. That's right. But unfortunately, after that year with that same hairstyle, went to Venezuela.
Love it.
And it was a long do then. Nobody wanted to cut it.
Lonzo throws out Lucroy. 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
So you're pointing up here. Somebody had that baseball card, huh? Is that why you're looking up here and smiling?
I had nothing to do with that baseball card. I would never do that to you, Ray. The only time I got you was when I found the 1965 picture of you, and you look like a movie star in Tucson, Arizona. I found that one. Chris Carter, his 15th home run of the year in the second inning, so he is among the league leaders. And he skies another one deep center, but Burns is going to get back there, and he's got just enough room. So another deep breath for Sean Manaea. It's also a 3-up, 3-down inning, and we're on to the 5th. 2-0 Brewers. Log on each week as our A's insider Joe Stiglitz talks baseball with players, coaches, special guests, and more. This week's guest is A's lefty Rich Hill. He's Insider Podcast with Joe Stiglitz on CSNCalifornia.com. You can also find it on iTunes. That's Robin Young.
Robin, yeah. Man. A couple of Brewers with 3,000 plus hits. A number retired, 19, along with Paul Molitor, Hank Aaron, Bud Selig up there. Raleigh Fingers, Bob Uecker
right next to him.
He's got his favorite get up, get out of here, gone. They've got it in lights in left field. I was thinking about when Chris Carter hit the home run. There's the Hall of Fame broadcaster, Bob Uecker. But I said, Ueck, there it is. Says, get up, get up, get out. He says, that's what they tell me every day. Get out of here. I said, you're not going anywhere, man. You're an institution. He said, they want to put me in one of those two. So he's got some quick ones to come back. I mean, that's, if he and the late Lon Simmons worked together, they would never have a broadcast that everybody wouldn't be laughing.
It would be fun. Bob Uecker has a statue out front.
He's got two, actually. He's got one outside. And, of course, with his great commercials that he did, must be the front row. And so
right.
they put one in the back row.
That's right. Well, when you are considered one of the best guests ever on the Johnny Carson show.
100. Well, how about that? 100 times.
There you go. That's all that needs to be said. 2-2 to Butler's low. 3-2. That's it.
Must be in the front row and 422 feet away.
That's got to be one of the best statues ever.
I tell you,
he's a legend here.
He is a legend. And
Butler chases the 3-2 pitch. He's cannot figure out Zach Davies right now.
The hard slider, and he was looking fastball. That pitch started out of the strike zone, ended up even worse. And Billy Butler, that look of what was I doing swinging. But a hard slider, figured it's going to be aggressive, and it was.
2 walks, 3 strikeouts for Davies. And here's Alonso, who walked in the second inning.
But if you want to laugh that you'll laugh forever, is just listen to the induction speech about Cooperstown. When you have all the Hall of Famers sitting behind you and they're laughing, you know you're good. And he was great. They still show it.
Well, he's
at the gift shop at Cooperstown.
He has kind of a dry, sarcastic, self-deprecating.
That's right.
He kind of throws it all in there,
and he was an outstanding hitting, actually outstanding catcher defensively. Couldn't hit. But when he and Tim McCarver were teammates, 64 Cardinals, there was talk that if they could combine the two talents, he'd be one heck of a player. Because McCarver could hit, but Euchre was an outstanding defensive catcher, throwing the whole thing.
I bet he's got a joke about that too.
I don't think Alonso thought this was anything close, as Lucroy, good job bringing it up into the strike zone after across the plate, which looked like it was low.
So 2-2 the count to Alonso. Semien to follow. That one in the dirt.
Well, Euchre had a great way of catching a knuckleball. So the pitcher throws it, when it stops rolling, you pick it up. You know, but there's a lot of truth to it because it's a tough pitch to catch.
Payoff pitch. Struck him out. Elevated that one just a little bit. So 4 strikeouts for Davies.
Well, just did elevate and got a good pitcher's call on a pitch that was a little bit down.
There's Semien, who grounded out in his first at bat. Full shift on. And the pitch is outside. Carter way off the bag at first and shallow. Outfield straight away. It'll be interesting for Chris Carter where he's playing, right? Because I think you have to be really careful. If Carter takes one step to his right, he will not get to the bag.
He won't get to the bag, and Davies will not get there himself. So that's they're basing all this on Marcus Semien pulling the ball, giving Carter a chance to get back to the bag. Good call that one.
I thought that was going to be called a strike.
That was better than the one to Alonso.
So 3-1 to Semien. Shoots that one high and foul into the 3rd level. 4 levels here at Miller Park. One, two, three, 4.
And it really looks big because it's above ground. Some of the stadiums are below ground level. Coliseum 22 feet below sea level.
A little pop-up. Aaron Hill backs up. Aaron Hill has it, and Zach Davies rolls on, and he's still looking for their first hit through 5 innings. 2-0 Brewers as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Great moment in A's history, and it happened right here in Milwaukee County Stadium, August 27th, 1982. Rickey Henderson breaks Lou Brock's 1974 single-season record of 118 steals. Stealing a total of 4 bases. Rickey ends the day with 122. He finished the season with 130. So single-season stolen bases. Rickey Henderson in the top 8. He's got 3 of the top 8 single-season stolen base numbers. Vince Coleman has 3 as well, but nobody real close to 130. And he got 119 right here.
And not too many people in any will ever get to that point.
No, I don't think so.
That was Ted Simmons catching. Robin Yount was at shortstop. It was a pitch out. And, you know, we talk about was if there's a pitch out, if the hitter swings, you'd hit Ted Simmons right in the back of the head. That's how close he came to the plate on the pitch out. He knew Rickey was running. He tried to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible. And I think Robin Yount felt he had gotten him on the head first slide, maybe got him on the backside before Rickey got to the bag. And if it was today, they would have challenged the play. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten it.
130.
But it was 130. It's amazing that. But you know, Rickey has always told Billy Burns, don't be afraid to be thrown out, and he got thrown out a few times.
He had 84 stolen bases at the All-Star break. So 1982, that was a young Rickey Henderson. And 2 the count to Aaron Hill, Hernan Perez, and Ramon Flores to follow here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-0 Brewers lead on Carter's home run. And there's a walk.
Well, Aaron Hill has played with Toronto, Arizona, and now the Brewers. He has never had a home rainout game in his career.
That's true. You're right.
If you really think about 3 stadiums that have some sort of a dome cover.
Yeah, he doesn't know what that would be like.
He would not know to go to a home game and have a rainout. That's amazing to think about it. And he's been around a long time.
Yep. From
Visalia, California. Aaron Hill, happy to be playing here, happy to get a chance to play every day.
So when he drives to the ballpark, driving meaning he has his car in his home city.
That's right.
He's never been rained out. That's going to fall. Base hit. So Hernan Perez drops one into right field. 2 on and nobody out here in the 5th inning.
But now some trouble, and here's your 8th place hitter, Kipe, and what you've talked about, because with the pitcher in the on-deck circle, and of course Davies through 5 innings is not giving up a hit, so they're not going to pinch hit for him. So does Flores bunt and put runners at 2nd and 3rd? You have a chance to get the pitcher out and then face the leadoff hitter, or does he swing away? The A's with the corner infielders, even with the back, they're anticipating a bunt, but you have to wonder if Craig Counsell would do that. Now at first Billy Butler's backing up, so is Alonso. I think he's going to be swinging away.
Oh no, he showed bunt. It wasn't the turnaround square show sacrifice early, which felt like if you're going to sacrifice, then just turn around.
Give yourself up. Yeah, you have to give yourself up.
That's why it's called the sacrifice.
And maybe that was just to draw in the corner infielders because they're now both even with the bat.
Well, interesting too, Ray, in the National League, the Milwaukee Brewers have the most sacrifice bunts in the league. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised that he's bunting. That's what they do. And
Counsell could see if we get to 2nd and 3rd and the pitcher strikes out, then still have a chance for VR to do something. Nope. Maybe the first was a decoy.
So 1-1 the count. The Brewers are 11th in the league in run score. They're 8th in home runs. They're 1st in stolen bases. They have struck out the most. And that one hit to Butler. Nice play. Out at 2nd. Manaea, does he get over in time? No, he can't handle it. And the ball rolls away. Hill thought about breaking for home, but stays at third.
Well, Marcus Semien and Bob Melvin going to the mound. He had to throw to a moving target. That's a tough play. We've always talked about the middle infielder, shortstop on this play. They have to throw to the bag, and he did, but Manaea wasn't on the bag. And got him in the heel of the glove, and fortunately, the ball stayed relatively close to him as he followed through and wanted to make sure he got him as quickly as possible, but he wasn't quite there. So a strategy discussion by the skipper Bob Melvin, because you would figure here, and also Davies talking to his third base coach. And this is where a National League team is willing to have the pitcher sacrifice to advance the runner to second, not necessarily on a squeeze. Could be a safety, though, depending how good the bunt is.
Yeah, what you just don't want is you don't want your pitcher to hit into a double play.
Exactly.
So that's why we will probably be bunting here. Bunts it in the air, but foul.
I see coming down from third was Hill, almost like it was a, if he had gotten the ball down, he was going to go in contact, and almost not necessarily a squeeze or even a safety, but that was dangerous for him coming down the line with the ball in the air. See the third base runner, Aaron Hill, once he saw the ball actually in the air, he should have been stopping, but instead he was going to the plate.
Hill dancing around. You know, Ray, when the bunt play is talked about, it's almost always talked about executing from an offensive standpoint. I think just as important is executing from a defensive standpoint.
Absolutely. Good point. Yeah.
Coming home, the flip and the slide, got him. What a play by Manaea.
That was a great play. Glove only, flipping the ball. Let's see if Counts is going to take a look at to see if he got in before the tag. But Hill was coming down the line, so kind of a safety squeeze. Once the ball hit the ground, he took off. And Manaea with a great play and a quick tag by Stephen Vogt. And coming down, that is a great play, because Stephen could not do anything except make the quick tag. Normally, you get the left foot in front of the plate. But according to Dana DeMuth, he made the tag before the foot got on the plate. But what a play by Sean Manaea. The glove only, if he tries to transfer it into his throwing hand, there's no way. So Stephen Vogt quickly catching the ball, a tag, couldn't block him. And according to DeMuth, got him on the left leg before the right foot hit the plate.
So very close play, but
that's a great play.
Hill is called out.
That's an athletic pitcher in Sean Manaea. He may not be able to hit. That's a great defensive play. And just to your point, defense, you make the play because they were trying to steal a run. And it was more than just sacrificing the runner from first to second. It was trying to score the runner from third.
You see it so often. If the defense on a bunt play is not executed, it leads to an inning where things get out of hand quite a bit.
Well, it's a great point, because they always say, if you bunt and you put the ball in play, strange things can happen. And
well, plus you know that look who's coming up next. It's the top of the team's order. So the A's pulled that off, and not only did they pull it off, but they took a run off the board with a nice play at the plate. Now you have to get VR.
Elevated fastball again. But maybe that's what Bob Melvin went out to talk about, that, you know, here's the pitcher, and Bob, having managed the National League, might have been telling his entire infield that don't just assume the pitcher's going to be sacrificing to move the runner to second. Maybe, and maybe just a little discussion was enough to prepare Manaea to be able to make the play he did.
VR has lined out and he has struck out. And he swings and misses on a fastball at 94 miles an hour. So nice work by Sean Manaea. He gets out of it, and the Brewers do not score.
Insurance MLB All-Star Game ballot green and gold at athletics.com on your computer, tablet, or your smartphone. Select A's like Danny Valencia, Chris Davis, Josh Reddick, any of the A's. Vote up to 35 times. You can vote today, vote tomorrow, vote at athletics.com/vote. A beautiful shot on outside at Miller Park. It's a little different rooftop, the way the roof opens and closes.
It's like a fan.
Yeah, that's a good talk.
Fans out and then it closes it.
Well, all around baseball, they're saying Zach Davies has a no-hitter through 5 innings. All the reports.
Update from Milwaukee.
That's right. So A's need to get that off the wires. No, they don't have the wires. It's all tech.
First pitch to Coughlin. A little bit outside. Coughlin, Manaea, and Crisp here in the top of the 6th inning. 70 pitches for Zach Davies. There's a strike. 1-1 the count. So he's been sharp. He's walked 2. Struck out 4.
Just enough movement on his fastball and his changeup away from the lefties to not really many other than Stephen Vogt with 2 strikes trying to go to opposite field.
On the backhand grabs the line drive. So a hard hit ball there, but Carter took a step to his right and grabbed it. 1 out.
Here's a storyline for you. No hitter broken up by Sean Manaea.
There you go.
As a hanging breaking ball hit hard by Chris Coughlin. However, Chris on the other end, Carter made the play casually as always.
First pitch to Manaea is a low strike call.
Very good.
A little bit inside. Manaea tried to bunt in the 3rd inning and popped out to Carter.
How about a pitcher getting the chance to order some bats? They misspell his name on his bat.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, what if he really hits a home run? The Hall of Fame says, "Hey, we'd like to have your bat." It's misspelled.
Do you really want my bat?
But it really says a lot about being a bad hitter. If you're the first baseman for your college team and they can use a DH for one player and they pick you to DH.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. That wasn't good.
Swing and a miss. So strikeout number 5 for Zach Davies.
You know, very devastating for Sean Manaea, though. You know, you can imagine being 10 and getting hit with the baseball, and, you know, forever you're afraid of the baseball. Been mostly fastballs. He's had movement. He's got a cutter that he throws off his fastball, so you could combine that, but the changeup and the slider, so he's done well. Now, Sean said once he got hit, when he's age 10, he said my hitting days were over.
So 2 away, and Coco Chris steps in. A strikeout and a double play for Crisp, and he takes a strike. The Astros and the Rangers are playing tonight again. 2-2 game in the 5th inning. Rangers won last night 6-5.
And a double play that was not turned in the 9th inning.
Keuchel and Hamels, the pitching matchup there, so that's good.
I tell you, this strike zone is moving a lot for Dana DeMuth.
And it's a good pitcher strike zone right now. Just missed.
He turned his head to the right, saying it was low, but Sean Manaea would think twice about that if that were the case.
Line foul. The Rangers are red hot right now. They have won 4 in a row and 8 out of 10. Did I see today, Ray, where they have won 11 straight games versus the Astros in Arlington?
That's right.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think the Astros are 0-7 on the season.
This year.
Like this year, yeah.
Yep, the Astros have not beat the Rangers yet. Braun is there. Side retired. So the A's still hitless now through 6 innings. 2-0 Milwaukee as we go to the bottom of the 6th. It's the famous wiener race. We got chorizo, hot dog, bratwurst, Polish, and Italian sauce.
Who's the guy in the yellow, Ken?
I think yellow is chorizo.
You know, if he'd had his arms pumping, he probably would have won, but he kept him close to his body. You know?
Hot dog won.
He can't be running that way.
Don't know what the...
Was he in the race? Well, that's the nice part in the picture.
Don't know what the breakdown is. Who's got the most wins this year?
23 years young, Davis. Just turned 23.
And he doesn't look a day over 16.
He doesn't. But he's a big league pitcher.
Feeling pretty good right now.
Got a no-hitter through 6.
This is Domingo Santana. Third at bat. He has struck out and ground out. Domingo Santana is kind of the main piece that the Brewers wanted from the Astros for Carlos Gomez. We just saw Carlos Gomez, and he's having a tough time in Houston. The Brewers really like Santana. Big, strong young man. So they're hoping that he turns out to be a special player. Toward right, Coughlin. He's there. So Santana is 0 for 3. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Now the pitch count for Manaea is good. 6th inning, just 63 pitches. But think about the National League, although he hit second in the batting order at the top of the inning. A pitcher can be removed from the game with not a very high pitch count in the National League because of trailing. You want to have a pinch hitter hit for him. But the A's may be a little bit short tonight with a couple of their hitters maybe not available. So we'll see. Dana Valencia and Chris Davis both. Davis with an injury and Dana Valencia with a stomach injury.
Knocked down. Butler goes to pick it up, and Braun's going to have a hit.
Well, if it is a hit, it's number 1500. Give him an air, make him earn it. Opposite field on the high fastball, and really it's right at Billy Butler. He just missed it.
It is a hit. Milestone hit. Congratulations to Ryan Braun. That's a real nice milestone. 1,500 career hits. So we'll get a standing ovation from the crowd here in Milwaukee. Braun spent his entire career here in Milwaukee.
I think Butler saying you're welcome.
Ryan Braun's name has been in the trade rumors a lot lately. The Brewers do there. First pitch is low to Jonathan Lucroy. Both Braun and Lucroy, I would imagine, attractive players for other teams to call the Brewers on.
This next season for Lucroy does have a club option for 17, a team-friendly contract that would be very enticing for a team that picked him up.
Yeah, so you could have Lucroy next year as well. He's only 29 years old. Ryan Braun, a little bit of a different story. Braun is 32 years old. He still has a huge contract. He has a contract that runs through 2020. So that's 4 years after this year. So that would be a big financial commitment if a team were to want to acquire Ryan Braun. But you're also getting an extremely talented guy. An all-star 4 times. This year, second in the league in hitting at .337. So we'll see what the Brewers do. Trade deadline starts to get a little closer. Luke Lucroy swings and misses, 2-2. We talked about that, but how about the draft? The draft is coming up on Thursday, so that's a big deal for teams as well.
Well, there are a couple of teams that Brewers one of them, Cincinnati also, that are lower part of the standings, and which the draft is dictated by we're in the standings the year before. And of course, they could be looking at 2017.
Base hit right field. Nice job of hitting by Lucroy. Braun will round second and stop there.
Well, maybe Billard Butler was talking to Braun just enough that he didn't get a good jump off first base, because with one out already, it'd been great if he could have gotten the third from the Brewers standpoint, especially the ball that was hit behind him, or actually in front of him. But he just shut it down on the way to second instead of hustling and thinking about going to third base. The infield would have been playing back.
So 2 on 1 out for Carter.
Jed Lowry trying to get information in the dugout. Meanwhile, Braun keeps talking to him and says, just a minute, let me figure out where I'm supposed to set myself defensively, and I'll continue the conversation.
First pitch, Carter, foul tip, and it's 0-1. So Lucroy with that hit extends his hitting streak to 10 games, 18 for 35 during the stretch. Carter, a 2-run homer in the second, a fly ball to center field in the fourth. And this was the home run in the second inning. High off the batter's eye in center field.
First pitch fastball, got it again the second at bat, hit in the straightaway center.
This one's belted in the air, center field again. Burns at the wall. Gone.
Ball was at his head.
A 3-run shot for Carter, and now it is 5-0 Brewers.
You know, you could say, well, don't give him a strike to hit. Well, they didn't. An 0-2 pitch that was up and away. Look where the location this pitch is. And he hit it. It wasn't just one over the fence. He knew it was gone. But a very short stride and just all upper body. And Stephen Vogt was reaching to his right to catch the ball where he set up inside. So a 5 RBI night for Chris Carter, and he is the difference in this game.
And it landed well up on that catwalk there. Again backs up. He's got plenty of room this time, and that's the second out. So Chris Carter hurts the A's again. Most home runs against the A's since 2013. Trout with 15, Cruz and Carter with 12, Pujols 11, and there's Chris Davis with 10.
2013 with the Astros. Craig Counsell found a gem. I mean, they signed him late, too. Chris Carter was having a tough time getting a job.
Vogt has it, and he throws out Perez, side retired. But the big fella, Chris Carter, hurts his former team again. 3-run homer, and the Brewers lead 5-0. Hey, Know It All with Sportsnet Central, brought to you by Hyundai tonight at 10:30, and it's on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Dave Feldman reports from Cleveland. 3 analysis, get you ready for the Warriors and the Cavs. And we also have a full report from Pittsburgh, where the Sharks need a win. Kelly Johnson and Matt Fareed will host. Here's Billy Burns. Burns, Lowry, Vogt, top of the 7th. A's still looking for their first hit.
And strike zone might really get wide now. Sharman and I had given up just 1 home run in 4 previous starts. That was Castellanos at the Coliseum on a slider. 2 tonight to Chris Carter on fastball. This ball hit off the right foot of Billy Burns.
No hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's got 1 double play turn behind him. 2-pitch. He has not been afraid to pitch inside tonight either. Trying to get that tailing action. He's got a couple of called strikes on that pitch. That one right there. And quite honest with you, I thought it was going to happen there too. So it's very close to being a strike. Shallow center. Flores coming in. Flores dives. He caught it. 1 away. It was in the Bermuda Triangle there, where you see a lot of balls fall, but Flores came hustling in.
Just a chip shot by Billy Burns. It's a question of Flores probably should not have gotten it. Yeah, he broke back initially. Just watching him before the ball left, and of course goes into the dive, and to be honest, I think he could have caught it about chest high, but you know, made it look good.
And here's Lowry, who was 0 for 2 with a fly ball to center and a strikeout. The Yankees leading the Angels 6-3. Yankees beat the Angels last night as well. Top of the 9th inning, in fact, so last shot for the Angels.
Well, the A's were in Houston over the weekend. There's some comments about Minute Maid Park has the brightest lights, perhaps all American League, and they were bright lights. And here tonight, it seems like just the opposite. Maybe it's that haze you're talking about. A little difference in the way that the ball might look. Yeah, but very bright in Houston.
So 3-1 the count to Lowry. Vogt to follow. Came right at him. 90 miles an hour. In on the hands, and Lowry fouled it back.
See, Jed Lowry can get a base hit to left field, and for a pitcher to lose a no-hitter on a busted shift, you beat the shift with a base hit, and they're expecting him to pull the ball. Huge hole on the left side, only 1 player on the left side of the infield.
And he missed outside. So a 1-out base runner here in the 7th inning, and then he'll get Davies back in the stretch. He has not been in the stretch since the 3rd inning.
3-2 changeup, and Jed Lowry did not go for it, and the ball moved a little bit too much off the plate. Actually, it would have been a pretty good pitch for Jed to hit to left field as it stayed up.
Davies now 93 pitches.
In the 5th inning, Cappy had 3 and 2 on all 3 hitters. So that's the reason for the 18 pitches that added.
So here's Vogt. First pitch, first strike. Davies season high and career high in pitches in a game, 105. And that was his last start against the Cardinals when he had 8 shutout innings. Shallow center again. Flores coming in. Flores will get there this time. Does not have to leave his feet. Thought that one had a chance to fall off the crack of the bat, but Flores got a little better jump. So 2 outs for Butler. Butler has grounded out and struck out. First pitch, fouled right side, second level. Once again, the A's playing without Chris Davis and Danny Valencia. Valencia under the weather. Davis still bothered by that elbow where he got hit by a pitch. Butler hits one deep left center field. The no-hitter's gone. So is the shutout, and the A's are on the board. So a long home run by Billy Butler, and that makes it 5-2.
Oh, and without the Chris Carter 3-run home run, wow, what a difference. Well, the second for Billy Butler, and this with a big one, a 2-run shot. First one for Chris Carter, follow the walk, and Billy Butler follows the walk to Lowry, and Billy got everything into it. Tried to go inside, fastball left out over the plate, and Billy Butler crushed it.
And that one sliced down the left field line, and that one is caught and then dropped by Braun, and Alonso's going to have a double. Braun made a heck of an effort, and he had it for a moment. So it will be a double for Alonso.
Well, that quickly, the A's at least a little bit back in the game. Back-to-back hits after being no hit for 6 1/3.
So 98 pitches now for Zach Davies. Trying to get through 7. Curveball. Big curve on there for strike to center. So Fernando Rodriguez just lightly starting to throw.
Well, just 1 out, make it 2 out, but that means if Sean Manaea's at bat does come up, we'll make sure they have somebody to bring in the game. And so would like to keep it going and have his appearance at least come up in this inning.
A's bullpen is in right center field. Brewers bullpen is in left center field, and they're starting to get some action out there. Good pitch there, off speed. Davies catches the outside corner. Billy Butler's home run breaks up the no-hitter and the shutout, gets the A's on the board. Curve hit toward third. Across the diamond goes Perez, side retired. Butler with a 2-run homer, his second of the year. So 7th inning stretch time from Miller Park. It's now the Brewers 5 and the A's 2.
Is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
So Billy Butler breaks up the no-hitter and the shutout with a 2-run homer. So the A's back in the game now. It's 5-2. Manaea stays in. The first pitch to Flores is a strike. Pitcher spot is due up next. Nobody is into the on-deck circle just yet. Certainly a pinch hitter is a possibility there. And it's 0-2. Flores is grounded out and reached down a fielder's choice. Alex Presley comes out.
But it's seeing a pretty at least happy manager and Craig Counsell that pitch count for Davies was getting up pretty high, even though this is mid-season. But that's a lot of pitches, especially for the top amount of pitches thrown before had been 105. And a pitcher that's close to a no-hitter, you like to have the pitch count at least reasonable, that you're not concerned about him going out late in the ball game.
And now 3-2. So it went from 0-2 to 3-2 to Ramon Flores. Just 80 pitches for Sean Manaea. And that is a base hit in the field. So he just went the other way. And Flores, who got lots of speed, he has a leadoff single. So Zach Davies will not hit. Zach Davies flirted with a no-hitter. The Milwaukee Brewers have one no-hitter in their franchise history. Juan Nieves in 1987. Stylish left-hander for the Brewers. He got help from Robin Yount. Juan Nieves. So the only no-hitter in Brewers franchise history, and they have been here in Milwaukee 47 years. That was the year in 1987 the Brewers started out 13-0. And part of that 13-0 start was the Juan Nieves no-hitter. So meeting on the mound. Manaea at 81 pitches, and he's going to face Alex Presley.
Manaea said he's going to have a few friends from his college days from Indiana that were going to be here watching him. He said more than anything to watch him swing the bat. Well, they've got a chance to see him twice. Bunt one in the air and strike out. But pitching well, except for Chris Carter. What a difference this game would have been. Chris Carter with 2 hits, 5 runs batted in. And the Brewers only have 6 hits total. The 6th was Flores.
So here's Presley, who takes the first pitch inside. So Presley hitting for Davies. Top of the order to follow, and Jonathan Villar. Alonso in on the grass. Zach Davies, his last start was the 8 shutout innings. Tonight, 2 hits, 2 runs in 7 innings. So he's starting to find a nice groove. Straight back.
As the old saying goes, you can never have too much pitching, and Orioles wanted an outfield in Parra that they got, but they had to give up a pretty good pitcher in Davies. And Sean Manaea pitching tonight, similar situation that the Royals wanted Ben Zobrist. They got him. The A's got Manaea. Whether he can hit or not, he's a pretty good pitcher.
Flores has good speed at first. swing and a miss. He struck him out on a good breaking ball. 6 strikeouts for Sean Manaea. On top of the order of the switch hitter Villar.
Yeah, the slide step. And think about Manaea. And he has talked about how little he loses when he goes to the slide step. And he said it's something that he kind of learned because his move to first base with a lefty, as a lefty, wasn't that great. So he wanted to try to slide step, not lose a lot off his pitches, and he has accomplished that.
First pitch to Villar, outside corner, first strike. Villar has struck out a couple of times and lined to second. The Yankees beat the Angels 6-3, so 2 straight wins for the Yankees over the Angels.
Angels usually play well at Yankee Stadium. That's a little surprise, but Yankees are getting better, especially getting Chapman back and back into the bullpen.
Rolled foul. Pineda got the win tonight. Betances in the 8th. Miller. Castro.
I heard Severino was going to Mountain League. Did that happen?
I think he did.
He was. They were talking about to get some work in.
Yankees scored early and often in that game. They had a 5-0 lead after 3. So the Angels now 26-32 on the year. Fastball is high, 1-2. The Astros and Rangers still tied 2-2, bottom of the 7th in Arlington. Villar, open stance. Pops it up. We'll reach the seats. Rangers have the best record in the American League. Of course, the Cubs have the best record in all of baseball. They are now 40-16.
On pace for 116.
They have a 10-game lead over the Pirates, 10.5 over St. Louis. Drive to right. And Coughlin's there, and Coughlin makes the catch. So a hard hit ball, but Villar is retired.
Speaking about before the All-Star break, you talk about Ricky. What about the Cubs with that kind of a lead and just started the month of June?
If you think about it, Tammy, the Pirates. We'll see the Pirates. Well, we'll see the Cubs too. The Pirates are a really good team.
Yeah.
They're 10 games out. The Cardinals are a really good team. They're 10.5.
What was it last year? There were 3 teams. There were division winners in the West and the East, and the other 3 coming out of the Central. 2 wild cards plus a division winner.
Here's Domingo Santana. Swing. He swung and missed at that. I don't think he fouled it. The Cubs will be at the Coliseum August 5, 6, and 7. That's a weekend, so that should be a lot of fun. The Pirates will be at the Coliseum July 1, 2, and 3. A's go to St. Louis. And of course, go to Cincinnati. That'll be this weekend.
So 2 here, 2 in San Francisco, 3 in Cincinnati, 3 in St. Louis. So there's your 10 road interleague games. And the same at the Coliseum, so 20 total for each team. Only the Orioles have not played an interleague game, which is hard to believe. But the A's were in that category, only 2 remaining, and now just 1.
Tyler Thornburg, who's been terrific for the Brewers so far. One and 2. And here's the delivery. It's in the dirt. Well, how about tonight, Ray? 5 interleague games, including this one. Which, I mean, that's. Yeah. There are nights where you'll get a couple interleague games going on. Oakland, Milwaukee, Miami, Minnesota, Washington and the White Sox, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Boston, and San Francisco. A little bit inside, and now a full count.
And it was supposed to be just one per day, just because of 15 and 15, that there would be an extra, but
sounds like at least one.
Yeah. I thought that's all it was going to be whenever they decided to go 15 and 15.
Yeah, I never thought there would be 5.
I didn't either.
We'll throw over there. Flores does not have a real big lead.
And Manaea, unfortunately, one thing that he may work on eventually, but he does not have a particularly good move to first.
Ball is rolled foul on 3-2. But he has worked hard at it, and he will continue to.
Absolutely, yeah. Sean has gone at 6 2/3 innings in a couple of starts back-to-back Texas and New York, and here he is pitching in the 7th, so it'd be great to get out of this inning.
Simeon has it on the first side, retired. So a leadoff single, nothing else, and we are through 7 at Miller Park. Brewers 5, A's 2. Baseball from June 17th to the 19th as Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and the Los Angeles Angels invade the Coliseum for an action-packed 3-game series. Friday's game will feature post-game fireworks, while Sunday's contest is the perfect Father's Day gift for family time. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/tickets. Nice night in Milwaukee as we're just a little west of downtown Milwaukee.
If anybody knows the area, you do.
That's right. I'm throwing out my geographical knowledge. Just a touch west of downtown is where Miller Park sits. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. It's your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. So it's Tyler Thornburg, 2-1, 2.96 ERA. A little bit more to his story, though. A hitter is hot. Got a hitting streak going.
Yeah.
Tyler Thornburg is hot. Puts it in there. How hot is Tyler Thornburg? Consecutive batters retired, 23.
4 away from a perfect game.
Thank you.
And he's got a fastball, and he has shown it. He's got the hook, and he just showed that.
Tyler Thornburg. third-round pick in 2010 of the Brewers. And he's been in their bullpen for a while now.
A four-seam fastball right over the top, mid-90s. He threw it the first two, and then he's got the hammer, the Uncle Charlie. Curveball, and they're shifting him. And this is where, unless he's going to throw a curveball so Coughlin can pull it, not a lot of hitters on 2 strikes are going to pull a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. And that pitch was away from Coughlin, and he fouled it. That's the shift that we have been accustomed to seeing.
Thornburg, he gets it, he's ready. Zach Davies worked quickly as well.
Yeah.
Outside, 1-2.
Here's the shift, Kite, with the outfield planning to hit the ball to left field. With the infield planning to pull, maybe he figured he gets a changeup or a curveball, he might pull it. I think Coughlin would be happy to start with a base hit to left field on a fastball away.
The big curve Coughlin is able to hold up.
The Brewers and the Cubs saw each other quite a bit. Central Division last year where Chris Coughlin played.
Coughlin on a foul tip. Lucroy hangs on and Coughlin strikes out.
Well, the challenge him after missing with the breaking ball, came back with a fastball, and Chris did foul it ever so slightly into the catcher's mitt of Lucroy. That's why he jumped up the way he did, thinking that if he fouled it, maybe it would get another swing. Could not. So 25.
So Tyler Thornburg has retired 24 consecutive hitters now, but he's going to get a visit from the pitching coach. How you feeling? Good?
I just threw a 95 heater and struck out Chris Coughlin. This is Jake Smolinski. Just a little review of the pitch hitter for Manaea.
Oh, boy. Here is Smolinski. Game plan in place. The first pitch is hit high in the air, shallow left. It will be VR who grabs it. So on one pitch, Smolinski is retired. Or Smolinski was hitting for Sean Manaea, so the night is over for Manaea. 7 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. Chris Carter did all the damage. A 2-run homer and a 3-run homer. So kind of one of those lines where you're going to look and say, well, yes, 5 runs in 7 innings, but he really did pitch pretty well. But you say Carter hit a 3-run homer, or the pitch was literally about a foot high and a foot outside. So you have to give Chris Carter credit. Zoko trying to get something going. Make the second level, and it will. Just a couple sections over to our left. Chris Carter, with his 2 home runs tonight, now has 16 home runs and 39 RBIs.
See why Thornburg is pretty good.
Yeah, he comes right at you.
Right over the top. It is a 4-seam fastball. You know, a little bit like Sean Doolittle with the fastball. Sean doesn't have the curveball of the changeup Thornburg has, but as far as velocity and right over the top, there is no trying to fool anybody.
Brewers bullpen has just one left-hander in it. That's Will Smith. It's an 8-man bullpen, 7 righties, 1 lefty. Jeremy Jeffries is their closer. Campos throws another good pitch. Brewers, like the A's, trying to just get to that 500 mark. Get a little frustrating at times, and you're just trying to get there. A's started to creep close, but then tough weekend in Houston, and you fall right back.
Well, you win 5 in a row and on the verge of losing 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So it just takes away everything that you have accomplished. And Bob Melvin knows that. Looks like Fernando Rodriguez gets the bottom of the 8th inning.
One-two pitch, strike 3 called on the outside corner. So good inning for Thornburg. He retires all 3 hitters, so he is on a roll. 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Baseball movie fireworks presented by Ray Morgan Company. After the game against the Angels, our famous fireworks show will be set to music from classic baseball movies, including The Natural, Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and more. There's no better way to kick off summer than with A's baseball and fireworks. So visit athletics.com/fireworks today. Gosh, this is baseball movies.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 2-2-0 for the A's, 5-6-0 for the Brewers. Billy Butler broke up the no-hitter. That was in the 7th inning with a 2-run homer. Chris Carter, couple of home runs, a 2-run homer, and a 3-run homer. And that is where we are at. Bottom of the 8th inning. Brewers 5 and the A's 2. So Fernando Rodriguez comes in. 24th appearance, 1-0 with a 2.12 ERA. First pitch to Braun is a strike. What about any music from Sandlot?
I don't even know what the music is. Do you?
Can't think of it. I know it's a great movie though. Squints. Ya. Smalls.
Forever.
Benny the Jet.
Yeah. Just
Wendy Peppercorn. I mean, come on.
Just get the baseball. That's all that matters. I mean, all you need to do is ask.
The Beast was not going to make it that easy on the boys. What a great movie, Sandlot. Night Game. And the night game on the 4th of July. Fireworks were going, and that was the lights.
Sounds like you've watched that a few times.
Awesome. Close pitch. 2-2 the count. Braun, Lucroy, and Carter. So the heart of this Brewers order. 5-2 Milwaukee. Good breaking ball, and Braun strikes out. So Braun 1 for 4 now.
Well, Braun a big power hitter, but not too many hitters going to hit that pitch. And a couple of fastballs in, little breaking ball away. And Braun not much of a chance to do anything. A couple of strikeouts for the power hitting right-hander.
Here's Lucroy. Lucroy's had a good game. He walked and scored in the second, grounded out in the fourth, singled and scored in the sixth. So he has been on base for both of Carter's home runs. So I just got a text, Ray, from Zach Bash from the media relations department. Zach's watching at home.
He's telling you about the music.
He's on top of it. He said there will be music from Sandlot as well. So that is good news. And we appreciate Zach's hard work and overtime work.
Appreciate him watching.
Not only is he watching, but
listening.
He's helping us from 2,000 miles away. Two and one. Toward third, Alonso flips it across down the run, 2 outs. And here comes the big fella, Chris Carter.
Well, a walk and then this to score 2 in the second inning. But no doubter. Strange one though was this one. Location supposed to be inside. The pitch was up and away. And Sean Manaea had the second home run hit by Chris Carter. Bernie Brewer sliding down the slide.
Still kind of trying to figure out how he hit that last one out. But he did.
Aaron Hill, you saw that last time a 3-home run game was Aaron Hill. And the capper was a slam. Brewers just kept coming back, and it was Aaron Hill who did the damage. He's had 3-run home runs on a Sunday in Tampa with Valencia, and the following Tuesday, 2 days later, with Chris Davis against the Rangers.
That's a good fastball from Rodriguez.
That was too good of a pitch.
That's the closer, Jeremy Jeffers. Hard thrower. The 0-2 pitch, just a little high.
This was May 7th, and there's one in Cincinnati. And they wanted to make a comeback, keep going, so they brought Hill up and did it again. See the catcher reacting, and watch him react on this last one. Slam.
That is a foul ball. So Cincinnati, a hitter's park as well. And that's where the A's will go.
Yeah, I must admit, I thought the A's coming on this road trip, and they were just 4 games under 500 starting Friday in Houston. And with 3 in Houston, 2 here, and then 3 in Cincinnati, I thought the A's would have a chance to do well, considering they were coming off a 5-game winning streak, and maybe get back home, next homestand, at or at least near to 500. But they've lost the first 3 and on the verge of the 4th. With 3 more outs to go on this one to try to come back. It's like Chris Carter, go someplace else.
1-2 pitch. Here it is. And a fastball. Carter thought about going after it.
Isn't it appropriate that Chris Carter is wearing the number 33? Just thinking about that. He started his career 0 for 33.
That's right.
He's wearing the 33. But you know, you talk about failure in the game of baseball. He failed. And he said that today. He said, I know what it's like to struggle. And when he was with the A's and he struggled mightily, was sent back to minor leagues, came back, and tonight 2 home runs, 5 ribbies. And so he knows that what it's like to have a tough time. And he got his first hit in Seattle, but man, he struggled at the beginning.
Here's the full count delivery, and he got him swinging. Rodriguez has a good inning, couple of strikeouts. Last shot for the Athletics. It'll be Burns, Lowry, and Vogt. 5-2 Brewers as we go to the ninth.
Miss your chance to see the only 2 A's versus Giants games of 2016 at the Oakland Coliseum, with the Cross Bay rivals square off June 29th and 30th. End of this month, the A's look to continue their winning ways against the Giants, having captured 2 of the last 3 season series. These interleague showdowns are always some of the most popular games of the year, so get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets. Get them now, and let's hope that guy Josh Reddick just saw there that he's back by then.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. It's your oil change, tune-up, and repair expert. So the Brewers bring in their closer, hard-throwing Jeremy Jeffress. 15 for 16 in save opportunities this year. So he's got a 3-run lead to protect as he faces Burns, Lowry, and Vogt.
A 97-mile-an-hour fastball plus a curve. Change up. There's the heater. 96. Amazing, he only had 1 save before this year. That was with Kansas City. So he's been around quite a bit. At least to professional baseball. And looks like he may have found a home here as far as getting a chance to close games.
Well, it's interesting, Ray. He was originally a first-round draft pick of the Brewers, and then went to Kansas City in that Zach Greinke trade. And he went to Toronto for a little while, and then was a free agent and signed with the Brewers. And he really hadn't done much at the big league level, but a good year last year, a good year in 2014. He knocks that one down, but Burns is going to have an infield hit. It rolls into foul territory. So good start, 9th inning for the A's.
He tried to backhand the ball as he followed through. Something looked a little bit strange. The ball back up the middle. Watch the follow through by Jeffress. And, he hit his glove as he threw the glove behind him, and that's how close it came to being a great play. Watch the left glove. Brought the glove behind his back. He thought he had it in the glove, but it went into foul territory. But you see this happen where sometimes a pitcher will do that, find the ball in his glove, throw out the hitter, but it hit too hard in the palm of his glove. Probably would have been a base hit up the middle anyway, but at least the A's do start it in the 9th inning.
So here's Lowry. These need base runners. Vogt to follow. After Vogt, it would be Butler. First pitch is a fastball, 96 for a strike. Well, last year, Jeffries was the setup man at 2.65 ERA in 72 games. The closer this year. Swing and a miss, 98 miles an hour. And it's 0-2. Be back with you tomorrow. Same time. It'll be Jesse Hahn and Chase Anderson. A couple of young right-handers. 4:30. Get you started with A's pregame live, and then first pitch scheduled for 5:10 here at Miller Park. Another off day on Thursday in Cincinnati, and then 3 against the Reds. So you look for off days, you can't wait to have them, and then you have 2 and 4 days
on the road,
which is not really the way you draw it up.
Except for you get to learn the geography of Milwaukee, Wisconsin a little bit better.
That's true.
Bring some Pringles.
Good for me, bad for everybody else. Just a bit outside. Lowry checks his swing.
It's a good check by Jed Lowry, and even better call by Mike Estabrook at third. He didn't ring him up. And a good call. Good check by Jed Lowry. He did not take the bat through the hitting zone.
This ballpark, where it is a live ballpark, just want to get a couple runs.
And a good block by Lucroy, exactly trying to do his job to keep the runners where they stand. And Stephen Vogt, who came close in his second at bat, left center on a drive at the warning track, so get him a chance to come up. Billy Butler also following Stephen Vogt, who's already hit a 2-run home run tonight.
And now it's a full count. The shortstop right behind second base. And there's the pitch, and it's line fair down the left field line. Burns rounds second. He'll hustle into third. The throw goes to second base. Lowry gets there ahead of it. And now the A's are in business with second and third and nobody out.
And there's a late swing on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, really beating the shift. And Jed Lowry this time really busted it into second base, and fastball floating away from him, elevated this time by checking his swing earlier, gets a pitch a little bit better, and down the left field line. And I still say, Kai, if you get a 97, 98-mile-an-hour fastball, it's tough to pull, especially get 2 strikes. And so Jed Lowry doing his job, second and third, nobody out, and just try to keep it going.
So here's Vogt. Vogt has grounded out and hit a pair of fly balls to center field. One deep to left center field. First pitch bounced towards second. Bill slides to his right. He's got it. He'll get a run home as Burns comes in to score to make it 5-3. And now 1 out with Lowry at third.
Now that's a great approach early, but Stephen Vogt was trying to do a lot more, especially down by 3 in the 9th inning. And he just happened to hit it on the ground on the first pitch. Tyler Ladendorf getting ready. Billy Butler can get on base, probably see him pinch run.
Butler with that long home run in the 7th inning to get the A's on the board. First pitch. Miss.
Yeah, he's looking for fastball first pitch to try to tie the game. Just happened to be out of the strike zone.
chases that fastball. Looks like it's a little down.
Now the 2 pitches this at bat down. Look at this location. A fastball exactly to his liking, middle of the plate, and crushed. That would break up the no-hitter, shut out everything. The ovation was not for Billy Butler hitting home run. It was for Zach Davies, who gave up his first hit with actually 2 outs in the 7th inning.
So Jeff is now ahead in the count 0-2. Alonso will be next. Tap towards short. As it throws, Carter cannot dig it out. Run scores, Butler safe. VR, well, he just threw a floater over there, and certainly he had time with Butler, but he just kind of flipped it over there, and it just seemed to stay in the air a long time, and then it was just a little bit in the dirt, and Carter could not dig it out.
Well, it's a good point, because all he had time, plenty of time, stay up on top, but look at him throw underneath, and he threw a sinker, and you throw a ball in the dirt, and when you have plenty of time, you're playing deep anyway, you have a strong arm, and he just threw a little sinker, and Chris Carter could not reach out far enough to get it. So a break for the A's. So E6 with an RBI, Plainfield playing back, but the fact that Billy Butler was able to reach base, Tyler Ladendorf with his speed able to take over at first base. But no reason for Villar to do this, to go underneath like that. He had plenty of time. Butler does not run fast. Come up over the top, throw a 4-seamer, throw it straight, chest high to the first baseman, and
you know what, Ray? The throw, it was not a good throw. Carter's got to.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Because he didn't really reach out for it.
Yeah,
if he reaches out another 6 inches, the ball's not in the dirt, and it really was just barely in the dirt anyway.
No, you're right.
It's really 2 mistakes.
Yeah.
So the A's will take it, and there's still only 1 out. Now you got the speedy Ladendorf on. Ladendorf running for Butler. Alonso has walked, struck out, and doubled. Fastball away. So it's gone single, double, RBI, ground out, and then an E6. And as Ray said, give Butler an RBI.
Infield a little bit more straight up with Alonso hitting. Still, he does a very good job going opposite field. The outfield playing no doubles, and so all things working towards the Brewers, at least what they're trying to accomplish. But Ladendorf has the speed on the ball in the outfield, and Alonso can hit hard enough to get the ball to the walk and score the run. As mentioned last night, the Rangers took advantage of wasn't an error, but a double play that should have been turned was not, and with a 2-out hit, they won the game. A's are trying to tie it down with 2 outs.
And there's a strike. 1-1 the count.
Oh, it's just 1 out. That last one was an error, so just 1 out.
Low strike call. Simeon is the on-deck hitter. Ladendorf decent lead. And another pitch low. Jeffers throwing hard, 97 miles an hour. He does not have huge strikeout totals, which probably tells you, Ray, his fastball's pretty straight.
Actually, that's why it was surprising that the couple Butler got were down in the zone. They had a little sinking action to them. Billy was hitting on top of them.
Alonso, that one is going to drop into right field. Ladendorf led it all the way. He's going to go to third, and the A's have first and third, 1 out. With 2 runs already in, they have a chance to tie this game up in the 9th.
Now, we talk about it often. If you're a base runner, know where the outfielders are. They were playing no doubles. And as soon as the ball was hit, you're right, Ladendorf was at first. He saw that there's no chance that Flores was going to get to the ball, so he was able to take off. Look where the center fielder's playing, where the ball is hit. And Ladendorf reading it perfectly, able to get to third base. That is great base running, good speed by Tyler Ladendorf. Those young legs and get into third easily. Now the Brewers have to play for 2. So Marcus just trying to get the ball in the air.
Just trying to add on to that. Simeon has grounded out twice and popped out to second.
But a base hit to right field here would be a thing of beauty with where the second baseman Hill is playing.
Huge hole on that right side.
I think that Lucroy has done pretty consistently tonight. The catcher is set up inside to the right-handed hitters. I don't know if that's by design or just trying to get his pitcher to be in the strike zone instead of overthrowing the ball outside and maybe trying to get the hitters to hit into the shift.
Simeon fouls it right at home plate. Simeon seeing a lot of those low strike calls and felt like he had to go after that one. It's down. It's a good pitcher's pitch.
And Marcus has done his best when pitches have been up. Well, you had the Coliseum on a fastball that was up straight away center field. Night game.
Well, he's got a battle here, down 0-2. Got him swinging. So Marcus Simeon will be disappointed there.
Well, that time it was Lucroy moving way outside of the breaking ball after the fastball's inside, and Marcus just reaching for it, couldn't get it.
And we have not seen a lot of sliders from Jefferson. No. That was one right there.
And Chris Davis is out in the on-deck circle. He would hit for the pitcher spot. So Chris Conley trying to keep it going.
Cogman. There's Davis waiting. Cogman is 0 for 2 with a walk. First pitch is down and away. Walk, line out, and a strikeout for Cogman. That is the tying run right there, Ladendorf. Fastball 96 miles an hour. So well placed there, right on the outside corner.
That was a perfectly thrown pitch. Chris started on the block. That's as close to the corner as you could throw.
Long going back. Still going back, but he's got just enough room. He makes the catch, and that's the ball game. So the A's make a run in the ninth. They come up just a little short, and game 1 of the series goes to the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, 2 in the ninth, but not enough. So the A's have lost 4 in a row. They are now 25-33 on the year. Game took 2 hours and 28 minutes. The crowd tonight here at Miller Park was 19,283. So game 1 of the 2-game set goes to the Brewers. Final score, Brewers 5 and the Athletics 4. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's post-game live.